Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook friends. You're live with ChantalTV in Paris. It is today, Monday, the 27th of April, confinement day number 42. So Paris total lockdown day number 42. I can't believe it. Time goes fast. And I see the first people joining in. Hello, Earl. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Robert. How are you all doing? I'm just reading some of the comments. So it does work, as I'm right. Yes, also good vibes on YouTube. Fantastic. So there we have wow. Thank you guys for joining. I still haven't found myself on Periscope, but I'm sure that will come. Yes, here we are. Valerie Calao, bonjour from Connecticut. Nice. Hello. I always pronounce all these American states totally wrong. There we have Peter. Hi Peter. Hi Milano. Ciao. Come stai? Fantastic. So guys, I'm here. We have a guest, a coffee chat guest today. So my next guest, she's an Australian, Parisian author and journalist, a slow travel pioneer, writer of my favorite Paris travel guide app Gogo Paris, which is now named MKRS.family. Let me introduce to you guys, let me find her, Kate from the Boogert! Yay!
Hey!
Hi!
I finally have someone who can pronounce my surname. It's wonderful.
Oh, I said it right, yeah? It's Dutch.
Exactly.
Hi, Kate. How are you?
Hi, Chantal. I'm well as can be expected.
And I don't think my audience knows you. So could you tell a little bit about yourself? Who are you? Where are you from?
So I'm originally from Melbourne in Australia, but been in Paris since 2000. A long time. And for a long time have been running a company called Gogo City Guides. So guides to Paris and London. There's a lot to say there. But I have just published a book with the photographer Carrie Solomon and with the publisher Presto called Makers Paris. And it's a new direction, I guess, for Gogo, and it's really about putting the focus on the people and the human element that brings a city to life. So we've just launched a new website to coincide with the launch of the book, and yeah, lots of other stuff to follow.
So, but how does an Australian end up in Paris? Like you got here in 2000, but what made you move to Paris?
Look, I don't know how to answer that question. I think it's one of those things, we just follow some secret path in our lives, don't we? Our destinies. I don't know how to explain it. It just felt I came here as a nanny. I don't even know why I wanted to do that before I started between high school and university, and something, just it lit up a light bulb in my heart, and I only ever wanted to return, and I'm still very happy to live in France.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's very...
I don't know your story about what brought you to Paris, Chantal. You'll have to tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. My story, how I ended up in Paris, was I was a model. My husband was a model. And we thought that it would be a good idea to live for 1 year in Paris to help his career modeling and then to move to New York after 1 year. And we never moved. We stayed.
That old story, yeah.
Yeah, 23 years later, we are still here. Our daughter moved away, so she, she left us. But hey,
where's
look,
she gone?
Montreal.
Okay, for her studies, yeah.
Yeah. So she's in Montreal, and hopefully, cross fingers, she will be back soon. But it depends on planes. So yeah. So I'm not mentioning when she's coming back, but she will be coming back because we already had flights cancelled. But anyway, going back to you because you're the guest. So how is your routine now in the confinement? Like, what are you doing? How's, are you sleeping in?
No, actually, it's the confinement coincides with big events for me professionally, with these new projects that have gone public after a long time of preparing them. So and even if I was meant to be catching a plane to New York tomorrow for our launch event at Albertine Books, um, all our wonderful plans are on hold as everybody else is in the world. But no, I'm certainly not sleeping in. Getting up, unpacking the dishwasher, and then getting to work. Really, as I said to you, we're lucky actually to not be in Paris. We're in our country house, so we're taking more time, kind of having nice lunches and cooking. But in many ways, I'm at my desk as I always am, behind my screen.
And do you have to help your daughter with her homework? Because she's in CM2, I understood.
Yeah, she's 11. Look, she's incredibly autonomous with her homework, and it's I've been really impressed with how quickly the online learning system was put in place and how efficient it is. She chats with her teacher and they exchange messages with her class, with her friends, and she's got it sorted. So she really does. She gets up and gets to work by herself as well. I mean, we check in and there are times when she needs some help, or I read out her dictation, or but
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't need to be next to her for the whole time she's working.
So basically, like, because she's old enough, she can handle also this confinement quite well.
Yeah, look, I mean, she's really missing her friends, and she really can't wait to get back to school. She
Oh,
really
yeah.
is looking forward to life resuming some sort of normal rhythm. Um, but she's Skyping with her friends every day at 5. They have their 5 o'clock chat,
Oh,
and
that's
she's got
nice.
her rhythms going,
Oh,
and yeah, she's handling everything well.
that's very good. So let's get to your book and the project Makers Paris. So I know Gogo Paris, so that is the app with which was always my biggest production tool. When my clients would come in town, I would just hand them the guides and like,
Yeah,
here you go. You can
yeah,
find all the hip and happening in Paris because it's all in this guide. And later I would advise them to download the app, of course, because your Gogo Paris was always sold at Colette, which was the place to go find things. But
yeah.
now you just published Makers in Paris. But tell us about it. Why did you change the name, and what is the idea behind it?
I guess it's a little bit of a shift in focus. I mean, it's not a shift at the core of Gogo. It was the same values. It was about championing people and places that were really rooted here in the city, and you know that were telling the story of the city. So, Gogo never talked about Prada, or Burberry, not because we might not be interested in those brands, but just that they don't really contribute to telling a story about Paris. And we're always privileging restaurants with chef owners, not some sort of impersonal chain set up by someone straight out of, business school. But it's sort of about urban terroir. It's like, defending the people and the places that are rooted in this place, and who are, through what they do, expressing the nature of the city, telling the story of the city. So I was always doing that with Gogo, but I guess just the brand and the way it was always sort of more connected, as you yourself said, with the new and the hip, and it became apparent to me at some point that really wasn't the story that I was wanting to tell, or that I was telling. It was really about the people, and that's what makes a city, gives it its own flavor. That's what makes a place live. It's by the different people that are there, who through their work, they bring a place to life. And so it all kind of cohered when this book project came about. So when I signed with the publisher to do this book with the photographer Carrie Solomon, it just became very clear to me that this is what I was excited about. This project Makers Paris was really getting me excited and seemed to be really properly articulating how I wanted to present and engage with Paris, which, I'd sort of worn myself out with Gogo, and it just needed to, I think it wasn't the kind of branding of Gogo wasn't in tune with what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
So,
and I think like you doing this, like maybe it's just a coincidence, like now with everything that's happening in the world, where we get kind of a restart.
exactly.
It's restarting the world. Like we all need to get creative and work in a different way. And you have changed the name, which I think is wonderful. And of course, my husband was like, "But Gogo Paris is
I'm
so
never
nice."
going to remember the name
Yeah,
now.
but it's like it's. I think Makers Paris. I just want to pull up your Instagram account now so that people can see
And
it.
Chantal, when we came out here, we came down. I so did not expect us to be stuck here for so long. I didn't even bring the book, so I can't even like hold up the book
No, but
and show
people
you.
are seeing now the book, so you don't see it, but people see it. So it's
Okay.
the middle picture on the Instagram page. Also, your name, Kate, at makers.paris. That's your Instagram name. That's where people can find pictures and
No,
what
the
are you.
Instagram handle is makers.family, yeah?
Oh,
MKRS.family.
oh, wait, sorry. Let me just. Sorry, guys. Oh, I've made a mistake. Let me just correct that straight. We can make mistakes here. So it's makers.family. I changed it on the
Yeah,
spot.
MKRS.family. That's the
Exactly.
Instagram
Exactly.
handle. Yeah.
They have it. Now it is makers.family. The book is called Makers Paris. That's why I was confused about
Yes.
it. So you
Yes.
guys can still see it on the bottom. Kate at makers.family. That is the Instagram account. So there you see the beautiful book.
Not Kate, yeah. Oh, right. I can't see what you're showing people, but Kate isn't in the name of
I
the.
know. But
Yeah, yeah.
they know your name is Kate. No,
Okay,
no,
okay,
no, they know it's not. Sorry, I'm just showing that so they can see it. Um,
okay.
Wait, let me
Oh, they
just go
got me.
back to your picture. There you are. You're back. Yeah, you couldn't see it, but it's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
But so to continue, so we had the book. You also make the website. So what is the
Yes.
difference between the website and the book? What can I see on the website? Is it related to the book, or how does that work?
Um, it's related at the moment because we've launched the website with the same 34 makers that we feature in the book. Um, the book has tons more content. The website is just the person, um, whereas the book has tons of photos taking you behind the scenes, in immersing you in their daily practice, where they work, how they work, what they do. So there's it's much richer, and then the website is going to really grow. So I'm already starting to upload new makers, because obviously there's many more than the 34 that are in the book. And then we have the shop that is sort of in a beta version, but that's something obviously that's not in the book. We're going to be developing a range of products with our makers, kind of fun and kooky souvenirs from Paris, I guess, but that's all a little bit under wraps.
And how quick are you gonna rotate or add new makers? Is this gonna be once every month or once every week or?
Yeah, no, at least once a week. I mean, we only, there's hundreds of people to talk about in a city, as you would know, like Paris. Many, in our Gogo Paris app, we have like 800 places. I mean, so, there's hundreds of amazing restaurants and shops and galleries. And so there'll be more every week.
Yeah, because also, like, if you relate the Instagram account to it, like what I kind of feel, you also brief us about like little events that are happening with your makers, and so it is like you're spreading everything is interacting with each other basically.
Yeah. And the idea is that, it's about defending a community of people and being a voice for defend, for them, I guess, in many ways. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's nice. So, who are the absolute stars for you in your book? Of course, you can't choose your favorite kids, but who can we expect? Who's there? Who's? I mean, I have the list. I mean, of course, like
Yeah.
you know.
It's really, I mean, there's obviously people there who have big international profiles, and then there's people who are really local who probably aren't known outside of their 1K radius around their shop. It's really, yeah, it's really varied in that sense. There's people who have been around doing business since the 60s, and then there's people who set up their company a couple of years ago. So it's really very varied, and yeah, I don't think about it in terms of a star or
Yeah, no, I see. Like you have a couple of really big names. Alain Ducasse, Isabelle Marant. Most people will know. But then on
yeah.
the other hand, you also have Yasmin Islami, who's a smaller lingerie designer. There is food. There is clothes. There is what is the MK2? MK2, the Marine Karmits. What is that?
I'm sure you know MCAD, the cinema chain. I'm sure you would have been to see a
Ah,
film at MCAD.
it's
So Marin
that.
Khalid, I'm sure he's amazing. He started his business in the 60s. He started off as like an assistant director to Jean-Luc Godard and Agnès Varda, and he made films himself. And he was a radical, very caught up in the whole militant movement around May 68.
Oh wow.
And he began, because he was so outraged, he wanted to get these alternative voices heard and on screens. He kind of first set up a production company, and then a cinema, and then a distribution company, to be able to bring to the world other voices. And yeah, there's stories like that. There's amazing
Yeah,
stories.
no,
So yeah.
because like first you were like, oh no, it's not the big chain. It's like the chefs in the restaurant, and now I'm like, oh, but that's MKD. I was like,
Well,
okay, because
yeah,
I
it's a
didn't
huge
read into that.
business,
Yeah.
but it's a business that's still got a heart and a soul. That's now it's more his two sons that are running the business. Mahin is semi-retired, but no, we're not. Makers isn't necessarily saying you can't have a really big successful company that's operating on a world stage, and we're
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
But it's about having companies that are still incarnated by a person and somebody's vision, and that are that have integrity and sincerity and passion. They're not an algorithm. They're not sort
No,
of
no.
someone who studied the market and said, "How's the best way to get rich?" If he'd
Yeah.
wanted to be rich, probably wouldn't have set up a film production company. You know what I mean?
And he
It's
would have
passion.
sold it already by now.
Yeah,
And he would have been retired somewhere and not
yeah.
care about
They're
it
all
anymore.
passion projects.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
people. Yeah.
And then it's
I
like
think.
for me, like what's interesting to know because you live here for quite a while now, 20 years. But how do you keep up with or up to speed with all this hip and happening? Like how do you scout your new makers basically? How do you cast them? Whatever you call that.
Yes. Well, I mean, like you, Chantal, I'm like out there. I'm just out there. I mean, after so many years as well, I'm obviously connected with a lot of people, and I'm getting information sent to me, like all journalists. Um, but I'm getting out. I'm seeing every new shop that opens. I'm going and seeing what's going on, meeting people, reading. Reading the press, following social media. I mean, but I've also got there's kind of a filter too about things. I mean, I can, I'm not interested. I'm looking for places where there's someone behind it who set it up out of a passion, so there's not a billion places like that. Not every place that opens is like that. Um, and then in terms of the selection for the book, well, it was partly, there's obviously many more people who I would love to profile and feature, but we wanted to get a good mix of different professions. We wanted it to be a nice mix. And then also part of the story of the book is that each maker recommends the next.
Oh,
So,
wow, that's a nice one. Yeah.
yeah, because the idea that it's a community, that each city is a web of people working together. When you think about Isabelle Marant, or you don't think that she's working alongside all these other people, eating in their restaurants, meeting them at parties, collaborating with them on projects, and and that's what makes a city so exciting as well. So yeah, each person recommends the next. So that also had an impact on who was in the book.
I have just a question popped up.
Yes.
Another interesting one. I think how is the balance between left and right bank in the makers dot in the makers dot family?
Chantal, that was also a question I wanted to have. Because all these makers, they have a place.
Yeah.
They have a public place where you can go and see what they do, and so we wanted it to be spread out, not just everything in the Marais or everything in Saint-Germain. Or look, so you can look on the website. If you go to MKRSfamily and click on places, they're all mapped on a map, and you'll see that it's actually pretty nicely spread out: left bank, right bank, east, west.
Yeah, because there is always a little bit of like, if you are on the right bank, you're not really going to the left bank. If you're on the left bank, you don't really go to the right bank. Like, you all stay in your same hood. You live in Montmartre, no?
Yeah, in the 18th, yeah.
Yeah, so you live
and we have a few people we're not even in Montmartre. We're in like the Goutte d'Or, which is the sort of the bad boy, the bad side of town. And, we have the wonderful Laiterie de Paris, which is an incredible cheese shop, cheese maker, an urban cheese maker and cheese shop that's in our hood. And then Maison Chateau Rouge, I'm sure you know, the wonderful
of course, yes,
fashion brand that remixes African fabrics and culture. He's around the corner. So, I also, flying the flag for my hood. But yeah, we've got a good mix.
Yeah, I just got a comment from somebody that
Yes.
I want to put in there. Also, if anybody has a question, please type it in, because everybody has been very well focused listening. So please, you can add a question here, and maybe we can ask that to Kate. Peter is saying you're basically a curator of places. Wonderful. I was wondering, how do you select the places you publish? Well, we just got that explained. What is the fil rouge, he said.
The fil rouge? It's kind of, look, if we've got a kind of slogan, it's like making, not faking. It's about sincerity. It's about craft and community. It's about people following their passion and finding themselves often. Many of these people have a fascinating life story of self-realization, that journey, that personal journey, and they're finding themselves through their work and their passion for their work. So, obviously not everyone, that's sort of the makers in the book where there's a deep immersion in their life story and their history. I'm not suggesting that every place that has value in Paris, there's necessarily, something so powerful, but definitely, sincerity.
I think you answered that really nicely there. Then, do you think post-pandemic the people will be using your book as a guide, or will they more buy it or use it as a nice Paris memory?
You tell me, Chantal. I was going to bring my crystal ball, but I couldn't find it. What the hell is going to be post-pandemic world? I don't know what that world is going to be, but I do believe that more than ever, this has forced us to reconnect with, a slow life, with community, with local, to think about the world economy, to think about globalization. So I'm convinced that everything we and the people that we present, all the makers, how they, through their work, what they wanted to say is only going to be more relevant
Yeah.
and important.
I think that are very nice words. We can order the book online somewhere. Maybe we can check it on the website or on Instagram.
Yes, it is. I mean, the book is available and in stock. It really depends on, who's shipping where. I mean, if you're in Paris, the Centre Commercial and the Librairie Van Lambert, two shops here, they are taking orders and shipping. I know that for a fact. Amazon has had legal issues in France. I mean, I don't know how online bookshops are handling the situation. Yeah.
And do you have a newsletter as well where people can subscribe to your newsletter?
Absolutely. Yeah. Please sign up on the website.
Yeah. So I will just show the website for 1 second again. Here it is. So that is MKRS.family, as I wrote it down below here. The book is called Makers Paris. Yeah, this was very nice to have you here, Kate.
Thank you.
I am a big fan of yours and always have been and still will be. So I will promote it here. Thank you. Thank you
and
so
thanks for all your reporting out of Paris. I love following what you do and all the different ways that you explore and share the city with your followers. It's great.
Thank you so much, and I hope we can drink a coffee soon in real life.
Me too, Chantal. Yeah. I look forward to that very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Kate,
Thanks.
and see you soon. Bye.